You just finished eating, your stomach is full, but somehow you still want food. Something sweet, something crunchy, something comforting. And the strange part? Your body isn't asking for energy. Your brain is asking for relief. Let's look at a moment you might have experienced. You've had a long day. Work was stressful, and you're finally settled down to see a movie after showering, eating and doing some simple chores. Mid-watching the movie, having food suddenly sounds really good. Not a full meal, just something small, a snack, maybe chocolate, maybe chips. You tell yourself it's just a little, but afterward you think, why did I eat that? I wasn't even hungry. Most blame discipline when this happens. But emotional eating usually has nothing to do with willpower. It has to do with how your brain regulates emotion. And food happens to be one of the fastest regulators available. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain uses dopamine not just for pleasure, but for relief. When you eat highly rewarding foods, especially sugar, fat, or processed carbs, dopamine rises. At the same time, stress signals in the brain temporarily decreases. Your nervous system shifts. You feel calmer, more comfortable, and slightly better. Your brain notices this immediately and learns something powerful. Food changes how I feel. Once that association forms, your brain starts using food as a tool. Not for hunger, but for emotional regulation. Now here's where it gets interesting. The brain circuits that process hunger overlap with circuits that process stress and emotional discomfort. Which means your brain isn't always great at telling the difference between I need energy or I need relief. So when you feel mental pressure, boredom, loneliness or stress, your brain sometimes translates that signal into I should eat, not because your stomach asked for food, but because your nervous system asked for regulation. Notice when emotional eating tends to happen. Rarely at breakfast, rarely when you're calm. Instead it appears late at night, after a stressful day, during boredom, or when your brain feels completely drained. That timing is not random. It's when your brain is searching for the fastest way to shift its state. And food works very quickly. Emotional eating is not a character flaw. It's a learned coping mechanism by your brain. The problem isn't that food regulates emotion. The problem is when food becomes the only regulator. Instead of fighting emotional eating, the goal is expanding your brain's regulation options. How to overcome emotional eating. The first step you need to take in the journey to overcoming emotional eating and teaching your brain to expand other regulation options is identifying the signal. Before eating, pause and ask one question. Am I hungry or am I in discomfort? True physical hunger builds slowly and accepts many foods. Emotional hunger appears suddenly and usually demands specific foods. Learning to notice the difference is key in overcoming emotional eating. Second, delay the response. When you suddenly crave for food, give yourself 10 minutes before acting on the craving. During that time, do something small that shifts your nervous system. Simple replacements like walking, deep breathing, drinking water, stretching and changing environment often gives your brain another outlet to regulate your nervous system, causing the craving to fade, as your body didn't necessarily need food at that point. Third, reduce stress at the source. Chronic stress increases emotional eating because your nervous system is constantly seeking relief. Improving sleep quality, reducing mental overload, and taking short breaks during the day can significantly reduce food-driven coping. Managing stress reduces cravings more than strict diet ever will. Fourth, slow the eating experience. When emotional eating does happen, slow it down by eating without screens, and chewing slowly to notice taste and textures. When the brain experiences food more consciously, dopamine satisfaction increases and the urge often stops earlier. Emotional eating is your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. The real solution isn't more discipline. It's better regulation. Once your brain learns other ways to shift emotional state, the urge to eat gradually loses its power. Sometimes, emotional eating often points to something deeper. Many people who struggle with it are mentally exhausted without noticing. Mental exhaustion changes how your brain processes stress, cravings, and motivation. In the next video, we're going to discuss hidden signs of mental exhaustion. Because once you recognize those signals, a lot of behaviors including emotional eating suddenly start making sense. Want to understand your mind and body better? Subscribe to Neuroscience Official and turn on notification, so you never miss insights that'll make you think better, feel better, and live healthier.